Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Yashwant. Good evening,
Good
Satish. Good
evening.
evening to all. Good evening. Okay, check your audio and video settings. Now I start the session. Okay. Yes. Now I'm starting the session. So in the previous class, we successfully finished the features of Java, and also we discussed about what are the differences between C and Java, C++ and Java. So when Java was introduced, this Java was introduced in the 1995. So first version of Java released in 1996, but officially it was announced in 1995. So when Java was introduced at that time, C++ were so much fame. Okay, so then what are the differences between C and Java? The C is the procedure-oriented programming language. C is the procedure-oriented programming language, means we write the program in the form of functions. So to perform any task, we write a function. To perform any task, we write a function. The C language. And this Java is the object-oriented programming language, means we write the program in the form of classes and objects. In the classes, we place several properties and methods. And for that class, we create the object. And C is the platform-dependent programming language. Java is the platform-independent programming language. This is the advantage with the Java. So Java programs we can run on any operating system, on any microprocessor. Whereas C programs not like that. These are platform-dependent. Okay, and C is the machine-dependent, means the software developed in C we can run on computer only, whereas Java is the machine independent. This is the advantage. So these two are the major advantages. These two features brought so many changes in the software field. And next, the C supports to global variables. We can declare global variables, whereas Java does not support the global variables because security problems may occur. And C has header files concept, Java has packages concept. So C has some unnecessary keywords like signed, unsigned, type def, auto, external register. So all these are removed from the Java. They didn't add. They didn't add to the Java. So Java supports the pointers. So in the pointer arithmetic, due to the pointer arithmetic, security problems will be raised. So Java does not support the pointers. Okay, and C has goto. Java is not providing goto. C has size of. Java is not providing size of. And in the Java, there are some advanced control structures like labeled break, labeled continue for each, and it is providing some operators like instance of redshift with zero fill, where these are not provided by the C language. This is the compiled programming language, whereas Java is the compiled and interpreted programming language. These are the differences between C and Java. And next, also we discuss differences between C++ and Java. C++ is the object-oriented programming language. Java is the pure object-oriented programming language. In the C++, we define main method outside of the class, whereas in the Java, including main method, each and every member we define inside of the class. So Java is a pure object-oriented. And the C++ platform dependent, Java platform independent. C++ machine independent, Java machine independent. C++ is the compiled programming language. Java is the compiled and interpreted programming language. C++ supports to multiple inheritance. So due to this multiple inheritance, naming ambiguity problem or daemon access problem may occur. So Java does not support it. Operator overloading. C++ supports to operator overloading. This is one confusion oriented concept. Programmer may get confused. The operator has which meaning. So Java does not support to the operator overloading. And due to these friend functions and friend classes, security problems may occur. So C++ supports to them. Java does not support to them. Okay, and C++ has template functions and template classes topics, which are common for all data types, whereas those concepts are replaced in the Java with generics. And C++ supports pointer, Java does not support to the pointer. C++ has header files, Java has packages. C++ supports to global variables, whereas Java does not support the global variables because security problems may occur. So these are the differences between C and Java, C++ and Java. Interviewer may ask like this: what are the differences between C and Java? What are the differences between C++ and Java? So how Java is great when compared with C and C++? Okay, So in such type of situations, we can explain these points. Now, in today's session, so now we are going to entering into the practical part. So today's session is very, very important session. Pay attention and listen carefully here. See, now I want to talk about structure of a Java program. Structure of a Java program. Structure of a Java program. Okay. See here. So to talk about structure of Java program, I want to talk about the structure of C program first. So what is the structure of a C program? Structure of a C program. Structure of a C program. So what I'm doing is, see, observe carefully. I'm declaring two variables, integer roll number, string name. I'm declaring these variables globally. This is C language. I want to read those student details. So I'm defining a function here, void read function. So here write the code to read the data. So here read roll number and name, student roll number and name. So to read student roll number and name, we are writing this function. And similarly, I want to write another function to print the student details. To print the student details, I'm defining one function. So here I'm writing the code to print student details. Okay, now finally, what we do, we define main function. From the main function, we call remaining functions. Okay, we call read function to read student details. To print student details, we call print function like this. So when we call read function, this code will get executed. That reads roll number and name. When we call print function, that prints student details. So this is what, this is the structure. This is what, this is the C program. This is a C program. So C program means we write the program in the form of functions. So here, rule number, name. What are rule number and name? Rule number and name are called variables. Rule number, name are called variables. What are read and print? Read and print are called functions. Read and print are called functions in the C language. So rule number, name are the variables. Read, print are the functions. So C program is a collection of variables and functions. C program is a collection of variables and functions. Okay. So this is one C program. Whereas to provide basic security for these members, we define these members in a class. So this is C program. Okay. Now you know that. So to provide basic security for these members, I am defining these members in one particular class. So here I'm defining a class. I am giving class name as a student, starting point of class and ending point of class. So here this rule number, name are the variables. We are defining inside of the class. Read and print are the functions. We are defining inside of the class. Okay, so if we define variables and functions inside of the class, those are called members. So here rule number, name are called rule number and name. Rule number and name are called member variables. This is the terminology. Member variables, or you can say them as properties. Or you can say them as properties. These are the properties. What are these? These are the properties. Properties of student. Okay, or you can say them as the instance variables. You can say them as the instance variables or attributes or fields. This is the terminology. Instance variables, or you can say them as attributes. Attributes. Okay, or you can say them as fields. This is the terminology. So if the variables are defined inside of the class, we call them as member variables, or you can say them as properties, or you can say them as instance variables, or you can say them as attributes, or you can say them as fields. So these are the methods. Okay, different sections will be there, like private section, public section, protected section. So we define the sections. Okay, like public section, private section. What are these latter I discuss? So this is one C++
Sir, 1 minute,
program.
sir.
This is one. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
In
Yashwant.
that wide read must be, yeah, wide read must be written first time, right?
Wide read. Come again.
After the wide read, yeah, after the class and after the writing wide read, then we have to write int string name now, sir. In the main function, there will be a member variable.
See, see here. Listen. So inside of the class, these are the properties. These are called properties. Okay. So rule number, name are the properties. We define properties outside of the methods only. If you define rule number, if you define any variable instead of the method, that is called a local variable. So local variables we define inside of the method, whereas properties we define outside of the methods. Outside of all these methods, we define here only. These are called properties. Yashwant.
Okay, sir.
Okay, Yashwant. These are called properties. Okay. So Yashwant, you need so much knowledge on properties and methods. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So uh, because this is C++, you don't know what are properties. Okay, so with your question, I understood that you didn't know what are properties. Okay, so that's why you asked that question.
Yes.
So in the read, if you declare the variables in the method, those are called local variables. Okay, so now these are not local variables, these are the properties. Rule number, name are the properties. Okay, so this is one C++
Okay, sir.
program. Just simply we are writing C program in the class, that's it. So this is a C program. Rule number, name are the global variables. Read and print are the functions. So this is one C program. We are calling this as one C program. So what we are doing, that is C program only. That C program only. We placed it inside of the class. That became what C++ program. So here I'm calling the in the main. In the main, we create the object for the student class. So for the student class, we create the object like this S1. So with the help of I want to read student one details. So S1 dot read. We are reading first student details. I want to print first student details. So we call print method like this. If you want to create another student, then again we create another object like student S2. Student S2. If you want to print S2 student details, S2 dot read, S2 dot print. So we are reading student details and we are printing student details. So this is called C++ program. So C++ program we are writing in the form of classes and objects. So here S1 is what? S1 is the object. S2 is the object. This student is the class. Rule number, name are the properties. Read, print are the methods. So this is one C++ program. So why I have written like this? Because C program means C program contains variables and functions. If we write those variables and functions in a class, that is becoming C++ program. Okay. So to the C language, they added classes concept. So just a C program, we are placing in the class. So that is becoming what? C++ program. And for that class, we are creating the object and we are calling the methods. Okay. So C program, we are writing in the form of functions. C++ program, we are writing in the form of classes and objects. So like this, you can define any number of classes. Another class. Okay, another class. So like this, you can define any number of classes here. So this is C++ program. Now, similarly, I want to define Java program. So to define the Java program, this Java program also we write in the form of classes and objects only. We write in the form of classes and objects only. See the structure, class, then give the class name here. Here we write class name, class, then give the class name. Okay, here sometimes we write modifiers like public, protected. When we define the package, at that time we write this is a starting point of class, this is ending point of class. So in the class, what we define? Properties. Rule number name are called what? Properties. Okay, and uh, here read, print. These are called what? These are called methods. So read and print, these are called methods, or you can say them as member functions, or you can say them as member functions. This is the terminology. Remember this terminology, very very important. So methods can be also called as member functions. So here in this example, read, print are the methods, or you can say member functions. Rule number name are the properties, or you can say them as member variables or instance variables or attributes or fields. Terminology. Okay. So here, what is the structure of Java program? First we are writing class, then give the class name, starting point of class, ending point of class. In the class, what we define? Properties and methods. Rule number name, such type of properties. Read, print, such type of methods. So to get idea about properties and methods, I have written that C++ program. So here, what we define? Properties and methods. Properties and methods in the class. So like this, we can define any number of classes. We can define any number of classes. And finally, we define main methods class. Then give the class name here. This is the starting point of class, ending point of class. So in this, I'm defining the main method. So main method must be defined as public. Main method must be defined as static. This main method cannot return any value. So write void. Then give the method name main. This main method can take string array as the argument. So write string array as. Starting point of method and ending point of method. In between that, we write the code. So generally here we create the object, and with the help of objects, invoke the members. Invoke the members. If non-static, we create the object and invoke the members. So this syntax we have to follow. Now, if you observe here we are defining main method instead of the class. In the Java, we define each and every member instead of the class only. Each and every member, each and every variable, method, including main method, we define instead of the class only. So main method also we are defining in the class. So this is structure we have to follow to develop the Java program. So generally we write class name. In the class, what we define? Properties and methods. So like this, we can define any number of classes. So finally, we define main method class. So class, give the class name. Here define the main method. Okay. So this is the structure of Java program. So now in this, you may get some doubts. Okay, what is this main? What is this void? What is static? What is public? Why we are writing the string array as? Such type of doubts you may get. Okay, now I want to talk about this main method. Why we have to write these many things? Okay, so this part I will explain now. Okay, so this is the structure of Java program. We write Java program in the form of classes and objects because Java is the object oriented programming language. In object oriented programming languages, we write the programs in the form of classes and objects. So here we are defining the classes. Like this, we can define any number of classes. In the main method, we are creating the objects and we are invoking the members of those classes. Okay, properties and methods combinedly, we are calling them as the members. Class contains members. Okay, so this is the structure of Java program. This is the structure of Java program. Okay. Now, see, observe carefully here. I want to talk about this main method. So what is this main method? What is this main method? See here. So most of you all already know about C language. The C language, you learned about functions. In the functions chapter, you learned about we can write a function in 4 ways. We can write a function in how many ways? In 4 ways. We can write a function in 4 ways based on argument and return. What are those? No argument, no return, no argument, no return, argument, no return, no argument, but return, argument, and return. So like this, we can write a function in 4 ways you learned in the C language. For example, here I'm writing a function, add function, add int x comma int y, starting point of function, ending point of function. So I'm writing return x plus y, x plus y value I'm returning. So x is the integer value, y is the integer value. So x plus y is also integer value. So return type is int. So this is called a function. This function is taking arguments, and this function is returning the value. So this is which type now? This is argument and return type. It is taking x, y arguments input, and it is returning x plus y output. It is returning. So it is argument and return. This function is example for argument and return. For example, I'm not returning any value. I'm not returning any value. I want to print. I want to print that x plus y value. So if this is C program, generally we write like this: printf percentage d. This percentage d refers to x plus y. We write like this in the C language. So now here arguments it is taking, but it is not returning any value. So this is which type? Argument, no return type. If a function is not returning any value, we write return type as white. If a function is returning integer value, we write return type as int. If a function is returning float value, we write return type as float. Like that, if a function is not returning any value, to indicate that we are writing void. Void is also a data type that represents nothing, empty. So this function is not returning anything. So to indicate that, we are writing return type as void here. So like these 4 types are there, you already know. So just now we have written return statement. So if return keyword we are using, that is returning the value. If return statement is not there, means we are not returning any value. So if the function is not returning any value, we write void. So similarly, now see about main method. See about main method now. Actually, what is this main method? This main is entry point. Entry point of a program. This main is entry point of a program. So in the Java program, many classes are there. So like this, you can define any number of classes, and in the classes, many methods are there. So where the execution has to be started, where the execution of a Java program has to be started. Okay, so to indicate that, we are defining this main method. So this, what is this main? Main is the entry point of the program. Each and every Java program execution starts from main. In C++ also, each and every program execution starts from main. Similarly, in the Java also, each and every program execution starts from main only. So what is this main? Main is the entry point of the program. This main is entry point of the program. Okay. So each and every Java program, execution starts from main. Okay, this main method cannot return any value. This main method cannot return any value. Main method cannot return any value. In the C or C++, we are writing int main. Main method can return integer value there. In the C or C++, main method return type is int. In the modern C, return type is int. Whereas in case of Java, in the Java, main method cannot return any value. So what we write? If the method is not returning any value, so we write void. So we write void here. So we write void. Main method cannot return any value, so we write void. So now you know that. So we are writing main. This main method cannot return any value. So main method is not returning any value means what we write? Void. Okay. So very simple point. You already know it. And generally here what we define one function, add function. This add function is taking two arguments. Both are integer type values. That is taking two integer type values. Okay, this is first number, first integer. This is second integer. So when we are calling, we call like this, add of 10 comma 20. Like this we call add function. Now 10 value will be passed to the x, 20 value will be passed to the y. So 10 is the x value, 20 is the y value. You already know it. So to take the input into the method, we are using these parameters, arguments. Again, I will discuss. Okay, again in the OOPS concepts in the objects and classes chapter, again we discuss clearly what is parameter, what is the use of it, how many ways are there to define the method. Again we discuss just for understanding purpose to get an idea about the main. I'm explaining now. Try to understand. So main method cannot return any value, so we are writing void. Main method can take arguments. Main method can take arguments. Main method can take arguments. It takes string array as the argument. It takes string array. It takes string array. String array is data type. So like int data type, like float data type. Okay, so here this x is the variable of which type? Int type. Similarly, here for the main, I'm writing string array. This is the data type now. String array. So string array name, you can give any name, not only as. You can give any name. You can give x, y. You can give any name, not only as. So mostly, generally, so many persons use ARGS. Okay, or you can give AS, or you can give A, or you can give any valid identifier name, X, Y, etc.
Sir,
So
args means written. Is it, sir?
no. Args means that is identifier name, variable name, array name. Yashwant, see
Yes,
here,
sir.
int array X. We write like this, int array X, 10 comma 20 comma. In the C language, you learned about it. So here,
Yeah,
what
yes,
is
sir.
X
Yes.
here? What is X?
10
Yashwant, what is
comma.
X? What is X?
Yeah, here X is
Array
10
name.
comma 20 comma. Yeah, arrow.
Array name. X is the array name. Okay. So X elements are 10, 20, 30. X is the array name. Okay, Yashwant.
Yeah, okay, sir. I got.
Mm. So X is the array name. Similarly, here AS is the array name. String array AS we write. AS is the array name. Okay. So this main method can take arguments. It takes a string array as argument. It takes string array as an argument. So that's why we are writing string array here. So now you got some clarity why we are writing why we are writing string array as this part is over. So this main method is of which type? This main method is taking arguments, string array as the argument, and it is not returning any value. So no return, but that is taking argument. So second type, main method is following second type. That is taking argument and that is not returning any value. Okay. So main method can take arguments but cannot return any value. It can take string array as the argument, but it cannot return any value. Okay, then after that, then why we are writing this public, why we are writing this static? Listen, where we define main method, we define main method inside of the class in Java. We define main method inside of class. Where we define main method, we define main method inside of the class. Okay, so if class members are private, those are not accessible, outside of the class. If you define this main method as a private, okay, now this main method is not accessible outside of the class. So when we run the Java program, JVM implicitly calls main method. So this main method should be available to the JVM. So that's why this main method must be defined as public. So if we define main method as a public, now main method is available outside of the class. So from outside of the class, JVM calls main method. So this main method should be available outside of the class and outside of the package. So that's why this main method must be defined as public. So main method must be defined as public, because JVM has to access this main method from anywhere. So if you want to access the method, if you want to access the member from anywhere, we must define that as the public. So main method must be defined as public because it must be available to the JVM. It must be available to the JVM from anywhere. From anywhere. It must be available to the JVM from anywhere. So JVM calls this main method. When we run the Java application, JVM calls main method. Okay, so that's why this main method should be available outside of the class and outside of the package. So that's why we must define main method as a public. Main method must be public. So with this, we can understand that this main cannot return any value. So we write white. Main takes a string array as the argument. So we write string array as. Okay, and this main method must be public. This main method must be public because it should be available outside of the class or outside of the package. Okay, and listen, one more important point. This main method must be static. Main method must be static. So why main method must be static? Because see, I already told whenever I explained about the features, we discussed about C++ program. So in the C++, we define main method outside of the class. If we define main method inside of the class, if we define main method inside of the class, circular dependency problem may occur. We discussed that one. The previous classes we discussed. If we define main method instead of the class, circular dependency problem will occur. Because if main becomes member of the class, we have to create object for this class now. We have to create object for this class. But when object will be created, instead of the main only, object will be created. So here we are creating the object. In the main, object will be created. If we define this main instead of the class, for this class we have to create the object. With the help of that object, we have to call the main method. But when object will be created instead of the main only. So until main gets executed, object will not be created. So without object, we cannot call the main method. Without object, we cannot call main method. But object will be created when main gets executed. So object will not be created, main will not be called. This problem will occur. This is called circular dependency problem. So if you don't define this main method as a static, now this will become what? Non-static method. Main becomes what? Non-static method. So we have to create object for this class, main method class, we have to create the object. But where object will be created? Inside of the main. So in the main method, object will be created. Okay, so to call main method, if you define this main as non-static, if you don't define static here, this will become non-static method now. For the non-static method, object is required. Remember this. So there are two types of members. I'm writing clearly here. There are two types of members. First one is static. Second one is non-static. For the static members, for initial classes, just remember this one. Later, I will explain what is static, what is non-static, what are the differences, where static is suitable, where non-static is suitable. All these things I will explain. Just to try to understand that static means object is not required. Static means object is not required. For non-static members, to consume the non-static members, object is required. So to consume the static members, object is not required. To consume the non-static members, object is required. So if we don't define main method as static, okay, this main method we are not defining as static here. Means this is non-static. So we have to create the object. But where object will be created? Instead of the main only. So here object will be created. Creates object. So to call this main method, object is required, but that object will be created instead of the main only. So circular dependency problem will occur now. So now object will not be created, main will not be called. So to solve this problem, they divided members into two types. One is static members, another one is non-static members. For the static members, object is not required. For the non-static members, object is required. So that's why define main method as the static. Now object is not required. Without the object, main gets executed now. Without the object, main gets executed. So instead of the main, objects will be created. With the help of objects, we can invoke the members. We can invoke other members. Okay. So that's why we must define this main as a static. So without object, main must be called. So main method must be defined as static, because without object main must be called. Without object, main must be called. Okay. So if you define main method as the non-static, again object is required to call the main method, but that object will be created instead of the main only. So circular dependency problem will occur. So to avoid that circular dependency problem, they divided members into two types, static and non-static. For the static members, object is not required. For the non-static members, object is required. So define main method as the static. Now without object, we can call main method. Okay, so now no circular dependency problem will occur. Now no circular dependency problem will occur. So that's why we must define main method as the static. So this is about main method. Okay, and this is about structure of of Java program. So here sometimes if you want to create the packages, here we write package statements. Sometimes writing this package statements optional, and sometimes we write import statements here. When we use the classes and interfaces of particular package, we write import statements. So sometimes we write package statements when we are creating the packages. Sometimes we write import statements when we use classes and interfaces of particular packages. Okay, and we define classes by following this syntax. We can define any number of classes. Finally, we define main method class. Each and every member we are defining inside of the class only, including the main. So this Java is the pure object oriented. And in this, we discussed about main method. What is this main? This main is the entry point of the program. Each and every Java program execution starts from main only. This main cannot return any values or write void. This main can take string array as the argument. So from the MS-DOS command prompt, from the command prompt, we pass a string values. If required, we can pass. For that, we are taking this. So string array as the argument, return type is void, means it cannot return any value. It can take string array as the argument. This main method must be public because it should be available outside of the class. It should be available from anywhere to the JVM. So JVM
Sir,
calls the main method. Yes.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes,
actually
yes,
here, yeah, in Java, why we are writing class, sir? For security reason, am I right, sir?
yes.
Yeah, but after the class, we are writing the void main. But if we write public after the class, then what is the use for writing class, sir? Then it will be always, then it will go outside of the class, am I right? If you write public.
Okay, see, let me explain. For example, here I'm writing private int x. Now x is what now? Now x is private member, right? For the
Yeah,
x
it's
that is
private.
providing security. Yeah, for the x that is providing security.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so methods should be available outside of the class. Method should be available outside of the class only. Okay, so sometimes method should be available outside of the class only. See, for example, there is a class, customer class. So we, in the previous classes also, maybe I explained to you. Okay, see, for example, here withdraw method is there as the customer. So this is what this withdraw method. This is what withdraw method. As a customer, we have to perform withdraw action. So if this withdraw method we define as private, if we define this withdraw method as private, what happens? We cannot perform
We
withdraw
can't.
action.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, so that's why this method must be defined as public only. So now anyone can perform withdrawal action. Okay, so methods must be public only. Properties must be private. Okay, so for example, your account number is there. Integer, your account number is there. That must be private. Okay, this must be private.
Okay, sir.
And
Got,
your
sir. Okay, I got.
account
Got,
balance,
sir.
your account balance, the data must be private. So like that, we provide the security.
Yeah,
We are
okay,
not providing
sir.
100% security here. To the members, we can provide the security.
Yeah, okay, sir. I got, sir.
Okay. Now, so just now we discussed about main method. So this main method cannot return any value. So write white. This main method can take string array as the argument. So we must write string array is. So each and every time I will not explain like this. Okay. So this in the structure I'm explaining each and every time directly I write public static void main string array is. Okay. Listen carefully. Main. This is the method name. It cannot return any value. So we are writing void. It can take string array as the argument. So we write string array from where we pass the values from the command prompt. When we are running the Java application, we can pass the values. That is optional. If you want to pass, we can pass. Okay, and this main method must be defined as public because JVM has to call this main method outside of the class, and this main method should be available from anywhere. So define main method as public and define this main method as the static because without the object, before going to create the objects, this main should be available. Without the objects, main should be available. Instead of the main, objects will be created. So without the objects, main should be available. So that's why we must define main as the static. Okay, so that's why we are defining main method as public static void main string array is. That's it. So some members may write like this. Some members may write static public. So this public is one modifier, static is another modifier. So in case of modifiers, we have no need to maintain the order. We can write static public also. Okay. So in case of modifiers, we have no need to maintain order. We have no need to maintain order. Like some members may write public static, or some members may write static public, both are same. Okay, there is no importance for the order. You can write static public also, but main method must be static and main method must be public. You can write static public or public static, no problem at all. Okay, so for the modifiers, we have no need to maintain the order. Okay, this one should be in this order only. Public static, you can change the order. Public static, or you can write static public, no problem at all. So this is about main method. Now I want to write one simple program. So initially, okay, the starting 1 or 2 classes, I write the programs in the notepad. So after that, I use edit plus. To write the Java programs. Okay. So in the initially, for the practicing, don't use any IDEs like Eclipse, IntelliJ. Okay. So for better practice, use edit plus or notepad. Okay. Now I'm
Yeah,
using
sir.
notepad now.
NetBeans, how it will be NetBeans, sir? NetBeans.
Okay, that part in the course ending I will show you. Okay, now I will not show you. Okay, in the ending I will show you. Okay. See, listen. Now, where we write the program in the notepad. So open the notepad. So in not only notepad, in any text editor you can write, like notepad, wordpad, or ready-made editors like edit plus. Okay, notepad plus plus. Okay, so I'm writing the program in notepad. In the notepad, open the notepad. In that, I want to print. My program is, I want to print a hello on output screen. So on output screen, I want to print a hello. This is my program. Okay, so for this, I'm writing the program. So I'm writing class. I'm giving class name as hello demo. I'm giving class name as hello demo. You can give any name. I'm giving class name as hello demo, starting part of class, ending part of class. I want to define main method, so I'm writing main. Main method can take string array as the argument, so write string array as. This main method cannot return any value, so write void. This main method must be public because it should be available outside of the class. It should be available from anywhere to the JVM. And this main method must be static because object is not required for the main. Without object, main must get executed. This is starting part of main. This is ending part of main. So we followed the structure of Java program. Now I want to print the data on output screen. So to print the data on output screen, in the C language, what we write to print hello on output screen? In C language, what we write? We write printf hello. We write printf hello. We write like this. So what is this printf here? This printf is the function. We're calling one printf function. We're passing hello string as the argument. So that prints hello on output screen. In C++, what we write? In C++, we write like this. Cout insertion operator hello. So here cout is the object, and this double less than is the insertion operator. Okay, so cout insertion operator. So that is overloaded operator. So internally one method will be called. You're using operator means internally one method will be called. To that method that passes this hello as the argument. So cout is the object. With the help of object, you are calling double less than method. Double less than method will be called that passes hello as the argument to the double less than method. And finally that returns the value that prints a hello. So this is in C, this is in C++. Whereas in Java we use one method. In Java we use one method. What is that method? Println method. In Java, we use println method. Println. Ln stands for line. Print line. Ln stands for line. Println method. So here I'm writing hello. Println hello. Okay. So just now we discussed that in the members two types are there. One is static, another one is non-static. Initially remember that for the non-static, object is required. To consume the non-static members, object is required. To consume the static members, object is not required. Remember this one. Okay, this println is the non-static method. So what is this println? This println is the non-static method. Println is a non-static method. It is a non-static method. Println is a non-static method. Okay, so object is required. Object is required to call it. Object is required to call it because it is non-static. Non-static means object is required. But where they defined this println method, they defined in one particular class. That class name is print stream. They defined this method in the print stream class. Even if you don't understand, no problem. For clear explanation, I am explaining. So because at least you will get idea. So there is one predefined class print stream. In that they defined one method println. So at least you will get some idea. So for that purpose, I'm explaining. So even if you don't understand, no problem, but try to understand. So there is one predefined class. That class name is print stream. So in this predefined class, there is a method println method. Println method is there. Okay. So generally for the classes, for example, here class is there. The class name is student. If any class is there, we can create the class. We can create the object for the classes, like student s1 equals to new student. Hence we create the object in the Java. Later I will explain everything clearly. So this is creating object for the student class. Here student class is there. For this class we are creating s1 object. Student s1 equals to new student. So hence we can create the object for the class. But for the print stream class, we cannot create object like this. We cannot create the object. For the print stream class, we cannot create the object. Object creation is not possible. The design is like that. Okay. So for the print stream, we cannot create the object. So but alternative solution is there. They defined a class. That class name is system. In the system class, they declared one variable of print stream type. Print stream out. Out is the variable name. Out is the variable name. So what is out? Out is the variable defined in system class, which is of print stream type. Out is the variable of print stream type, which is defined in the class system. But they defined this member as static. Okay. So now you can understand that this out is what? Out is the object of which class? Print stream class. So with the help of object, you can call the method. With the help of object, you can call the method. So what we write here? Out.println. Out.println. So out is the object of print stream class. With the help of print stream class object, we are calling println method. Object name dot method name. In the C++ also I have written. S1 is the object. To call read method, S1.read. S1 is the object. With the help of object, we are calling read method. Similarly, here also out is the object of which class? Print stream class. With the help of object, I am calling println method. But listen, in the members, how many types are there? Two types. One is static, another one is non-static. For the static members, object is not required. For the non-static members, object is required. Okay, now this out is also one member. Is this static member or non-static member? This is the static member. This is the static member. If there is non-static, again object is required. This out is the static member. For the static member, object is not required, but we use class name. What is the class name here? System. System is the class name. So with the help of class name, we access the variable. So that's why we must write system.out. Now system.out is the object, println is the method, object name dot method name. We are calling println method here. So this is the story of system.out.println. So to print the data on output screen, simply in the main method, what we write system.out.println. So every time I will not explain this much clearly. So to print the data directly, I write system.out.println. Okay. So once again, I'm repeating. Listen. So already we discussed about main. This main is the entry point of the program. Main can take string array as the argument. It cannot return any values. So write void. It must be available from anywhere to the JVM. So define it as public. So object is not required for the main. So define it as static. Okay. So to print the data on output screen, we use println method. It's a non-static method. So object is required. So this println method defined in which class? The print stream class. The print stream class println method is defined. But we cannot create object for this print stream class. But alternative solution is there for the print stream type variable declared in the system class. Okay. So we can use this object now to call this println. So that what I'm doing is out.println I'm writing. But this out is static. Out is static. So object is not required, but we use the class name. To access the static members, we use class name. To access the non-static members, we use object. So println is the non-static. We are using object. But out is the static. So we are using class name. So that's why we are writing system.out.println here.
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Okay, now this code. Yes.
Sir, here string means hello string means one name, sir. Am I right?
Yes. String means set of characters.
Yeah. Yeah, one character. So we can write hello, okay? But
Yes.
arc means here. Where is the arc, sir? Actually?
No, we are not passing any arguments. So that concept you will understand in the arrays. So this is optional. I will not pass any arguments in the initial classes. Okay. So I will not pass any arguments in the initial classes. Okay. So this
Okay, sir.
hello string you are passing for this println method. Println is a predefined method, right? For this println method, there is one string type argument is there. String, some variable name they have given, string x. So we are calling this println method, which is in the class print stream. So we are passing this hello argument to this println method. Here we are calling println method. Okay. So we are calling println method. So this println method will be called, and that passes this hello string as the argument to this method. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes. Now I'm writing this program in the notepad. I'm copying this program. And I'm opening notepad here. So here I'm pasting. Okay, now save this program file. Save. I'm saving this in the F drive. So for our batch, I'm creating a new folder. Maybe we created Java 6, right? Okay, so Java 6 already we created. So whenever we are saving the program, the convention is give main method's class name as a file name. So what is the main method's class name? Main method's class name is hello demo. So write hello demo here. Hello demo.java. Hello demo.java. In the F drive, in the Java 6 folder, we are saving this program now. Give main method's class name as the file name. That is a suggestion. Okay, you can give other names also, but the convention is, the suggestion is, give main methods class name as the file name, because after compilation that creates the bytecode file. For the bytecode file that gives this class name, main methods class name will be given to the bytecode file. Okay, so now save it. So successfully saved. Open the command prompt now. Where we saved our program? We saved our program in the F drive. Our folder is what? Java 6, cd Java 6. So to compile the Java program, we use the command javac. Okay, then give the source code file name hello demo.java. Hello demo.java. Observe here, successfully compiled. Program successfully compiled. Now I want to run the program. So to run the program, I'm using the command Java. So Java hello demo. Java hello demo I'm writing. I'm pressing enter key. So what it is printing? Hello. So hello it is printing. Okay, so what is the execution process? What is internally happening? Okay, that part I will explain in tomorrow's session. So tomorrow I will continue with this program only. So tomorrow again I will explain about this program and execution part of this program. Okay, now time is over, so that's why I'm stopping the session. Okay, today what we discussed structure of Java program. So in the structure of Java program, very clearly we discussed about main method, and also we discussed about this printing statement system.out.println. What is system, what is out, what is println? Okay, I hope you understood. I explained very clearly. Okay, even if you don't understand, refer this video frequently, you will get some clarity. Okay, now I'm stopping the session.
Bye, sir.
Okay, bye Curtis. Yes, Yashwant, any doubts?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Yashwant. Okay, thanks to all.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm stopping the
Thank you.
session. Okay, meet you tomorrow.